Hi, I'm Nina Rowan Heller, and clients, if you're going to share this, that's the only reason I do an introduction. But for everybody else that's a client, we're going to talk today about it's the beginning of the year, reviewing our goals, and really looking at our plan for the healthy new year. This year is different, as everybody knows. And I think there's going to be a strategy that's going to be a little bit different that now that we're looking at the whole year and our goals. I want you to apply this strategy to help you be more successful. So the first part of the strategy is what we call the double A, which you guys may have been doing already. And that's adjusting and adapting. Okay. So the last year, um, while we're planning our next year, this 2021, last year, oftentimes we're going back and reviewing. And one of the number one things that people are reviewing is realizing that the year went by because it was so incredibly different. The year went by in a way that we're not able to calculate, did I accomplish my goals? Things really changed, things shifted. And so it's almost like that year is just a really great learning year. And so what we want to acknowledge is that things are different and there may not be as much when we're looking at planning and preparing, there might not be as much predictability. So what I want us to really focus on is just understanding how to adjust and adapt. So adjusting and adapting is connected directly to what we've been talking about all year long, which is the grief process. The quicker we get to action about anything, that's actually going to relate to our success. And one of the things that you see with leaders oftentimes is that they step into action quickly. And that ability to step into action quickly is actually the ability to move through the grief process quickly. And what I mean by that is grief is not just about someone dying, but it is about loss, that you're really grieving the loss. So let's say, for example, this last year, one of your health goals was that you were going to increase muscle mass and tone, and you were going to your gym, and then all of that changed. So then you're adapting and adjusting with, I'm lifting weights at home, I'm doing activities through Zoom and video, I'm doing outdoor things, all of those adjustments in order to accomplish your goal. If you step into action more quickly, you would have started creating those adjustments and adapting. You'd say, I'm gonna go work out in the park, I'm gonna buy equipment. I know one of the things that I could see from my window in Austin is I look down and there's a woman who used to bring her universal heavy weights. She had a lifting bar and big 45-pound plates, and she would pull into this parking lot at the park across the street, and she did her whole universal lifting routine in this parking lot in the park. She unloaded all of her weights, and then she did her clean and jerks and all of that kind of stuff with her big weights. She adapted very quickly. That's creative. That was really creative. She was like, I need to do this. Where am I going to do this? So this year, if you grieve the loss of, say, the gym, then you go through denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. It's really, can I get to acceptance and saying, okay, so my goal still is I need to get more tone this year. Gym's not as much of an option now, or I have to schedule to be at the gym, or I have to wear a mask at the gym and I don't like wearing a mask at the gym because of my own breathing. Whatever the issue is, you want to be thinking, I need to get to that acceptance so that I can then get creative. So that's the adjusting and adapting. So look at your grief process, because a lot of times, if you don't get the choice, the loss is much more severe. So shutting down things, that was the call of 2020, is that shutting down this, shutting down that. Immediately, we don't feel like we made that choice. the more you spend time and energy about, I didn't get to make that choice, that puts you in that anger place. So what it is, now what? Okay, they shut that down, now what? So I would encourage you to adopt that as one of your affirmations. Okay, now what? Because now what is what puts us into acceptance. So your denial is gone. Your anger, you might move through really quickly, that 90-second loop through your emotions in your mind. The depression part, actually, if you go to now what, goes really quick. You don't even spend any time being depressed about rerunning the loop of, I'm upset, I'm unhappy, I don't like this, I wish it wasn't this way, I remember when, all that kind of stuff. So depression keeps us in that loop. And then that bargaining is, does it really happen? Is it really happening? Is it really like this? I'm not sure. Once you go, okay, fine, it is what it is, here's what I'm going to do. So I want you really to think about that, adapting and adjusting, working to acceptance. So I guess it becomes AAA, adapting, adjusting, accepting. And it's just the process of moving through grief to get to that acceptance. And then something that I think has been really powerful this year is, in looking at how things were for people, is to understand this is a moment in time, and it's a pretty significant moment. I don't remember exactly everything that happened in 2018. I can't go back to 2008. Yes, there were some economic things that you can remember. There are moments in time. 2020, everybody is going to remember, okay? And so I want you to ask yourself some questions about yourself. Okay, in 2020, how did I respond and react to this challenge? And if you think I did pretty good, then look at, what did I learn from that? What was it that was really successful? What was, for me, what made that equate to success? And if there was things that you didn't do as well, then to look at what were the challenges there. When I look back in general at clients, understanding that there's a small amount of time to say, what did I accomplish in 2020? What do I want to accomplish in 2021? When you really put a time frame on that, like, what did I do with the diverse or the challenge? What did I do with the unpredictability? What did I do with the situation where all of a sudden things slowed down and I couldn't do what I used to do? That really is the question to ask. So it's now what, and then what did I do with it? What did I what did I do with the challenges that I had? By knowing that, that's when you go into your powerful place. So I want to tell you what I've learned for people that were really powerful this last year. Sorry, really needed that. The thing that seemed to work the best for clients in general is to find something and do it daily. And when I say daily, people then ask, okay, do we really mean 7 days a week? Yes. And the reason I say that is, typically in the past, we don't necessarily say, okay, do cardio 7 days a week. We'd say do it 5, or lift weights or do yoga 4 days a week or 3 days a week. The daily practice, when you establish a daily practice, it gets you to being powerful more quickly. So until you know that your daily practice is that I move my body daily, and you say, I've got 3 options. I do yoga, I do cardio, I lift weights. Until you get to that place, you need to pick one of those things and do it daily. And every day you do it. You have it in your calendar and you do it daily. It does a couple of different things. The first thing it does is it works with your mental challenge, okay? When you have something that you schedule, and if you schedule it daily at the same time every day, it's even more powerful. We've talked about this with meditative practices for years, that you pick a time and you meditate every single day at the exact same time. In doing that, what happens is, let's say I chose 6 p.m. I always use that example because I went a year and did 6 p.m. meditation every day, no matter what, to establish the discipline. And people say 6 p.m., that's kind of an odd time. Well, that allowed me my working schedule, and I didn't have to get up even more early, and it was predictable. What the challenges that were, which I kind of loved them at 6 p.m., was that sometimes there were other things that were scheduled at 6 p.m. Like I might have a board meeting at 6 p.m. And so I would say, I will be in just a moment. I put all my stuff down for the board meeting and I'll say, I'll be right back. I have something I need to do. I'll be gone for 5 minutes. Typically people think you're just on a phone call. So it doesn't even matter. I would go and I would sit in a room, and this is a board meeting that used to happen at 6 p.m. I would go sit in a back office. I would go into my meditation and do that. If I went to dinner, if there was a dinner thing, and for some reason it was an early dinner, I would say, excuse me, and I would get up and I would go do my 5-minute meditation and then come back. That may sound crazy. But what happens is, by doing it every day at the same time every day, no matter what it is, you become more powerful in your mindset. Your mindset, because you hear the dialogue, 6 p.m. right now, you're in the middle of doing something else. This isn't the best time. So that's what your brain says, and that's what the chatter is. And you say, no, it's 6 p.m. I'm doing this. Every single day that you do that, you become louder. Your self-discipline, your power becomes louder. And that voice in your head, the chatter, becomes much less. So actually what you'll notice is 30 days of doing this, you're much more powerful than you were before. 60 days, even more powerful. When you do it for a year, what happens is, when someone asks you a question about this discipline, you don't even have to think. You're like, why is this the problem? Because you have so much power about it. You don't even go through a decision tree anymore. You just do it. So I want you to think about a daily practice. Okay. Sorry, it's very dry here today. And I want you to think about, what is the daily practice that you can do? For years, people ask me all the time, what's the number one thing that you would recommend for people to lose weight? And I would say, walk 4 miles a day, every single day. Because what it does is two things. One, it does the mental practice where you're going through the gyrations in your head of, oh, today's not good weather. I don't want to go. I'm a little tired, whatever it is. And so you cut down on the chatter. The 4 miles is a good, you're working to get that 4 miles in an hour. That is a really good, healthy pace. By walking, anybody can do it. And without any new instruction or new gear and those kinds of things. And actually walking creates a really great connection with your body rhythm. You hear your breath, your pace in your mind slows to match your body. And so you get this really great alignment. So what I want you to think about doing is, I want you to think about, what is a daily practice that I can commit to? So I'm looking at my plan for this healthy new year. What's my daily fitness, health, physical moving practice that I'm going to commit to? And so whether or not it's walking, it's stretching, it's doing yoga, whatever it is, once you get the practice happening every single day at the same time, then that's when you can start choosing and switching out what the practice actually is. But don't do that until you've actually built momentum. You know, you've had successful streaks. So you're having this wonderfully successful streak and you're like, now I can move it from walking daily, that I'm going to actually say, at this time at 6 a.m. every morning is my physical connection time. So I'm either going to walk, I'm going to do my Pilates, I'm going to do my yoga, I'm going to do Tai Chi, whatever the practice is, then you can start adjusting. If you are finding yourself, as I'm having this conversation, trying to play out how this is going to work, what's already happening in your mind is you're hearing the chatter. So I want you to listen to what that is when you're thinking, oh, I don't know what time it would be. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Oh, I don't know if I can commit to this because my weather changes. All of those things that you hear in your mind, start making notes about them. Write them down. When you write these things down, you'll start to see when they go out of your head onto a piece of paper and then you read them, you start to see how absurd it is. You start to understand this is not a big deal. Um, they actually start to sound sort of childlike. And the reason I say that is because if you're ever trying to get a little kid, let's say like 3, 4, to brush their teeth, and they're really getting to that place where they really don't want to do it, they start to have all kinds of dialogue that they share with you about why they don't need to brush their teeth. And it's that I think 4 years old is the most creative time where the brain's going like, do I really need to do this? And I brushed my teeth this morning. I don't need to do them tonight, and all that kind of stuff. And what you see is you see the amount of energy that a child puts into establishing, I don't want to do this. If you are doing that kind of dialogue and it's been going on for a long period of time in your brain, sometimes you don't even realize it. And so that's why if you write it down, you'll realize and see like, okay, really? That's not a big deal. I can do this. That's not a big deal. It's cold. Okay, put more clothes on. I'm tired. I always feel better after I move. I don't want to do this. You know what? There's a lot of stuff you don't want to do, but you do because you like the outcome. If you write it down, you can start to see what the adult responses are to the excuses or the rationalizations that you're doing. So that daily practice, the reason why you want it to happen daily is because you build momentum and power by doing it every single day. When you have time periods in between, what happens is that is almost a recharge time for your mental that is interfering. It gives it a little bit of a recharge time. And so you want to really address, I want to be successful. I want to do this daily. So that you can understand here, you can not give that chatter in your head more time to recharge, and you're not having the same conversation every other day. What happens is if, let's say, for example, I said, okay, 6 a.m., I'm going to get 4 miles in, and every day at 6 a.m. Well, that means I got to wake up at least 5:45, throw my shoes on, throw my clothes on, and go. And in my brain, if I am hearing something, if I hear it every morning and I address it every morning, that voice again goes much quieter, much more quickly. If I skip a day in between, I'm like, I got enough momentum. I'm sort of addressing it again and again and again and again. So that's the reason you're doing the daily practice. So I know I've got some questions and things for people that have happened up this far. I want to sort of understand about reviewing your plan for a healthy new year. The most that we talked about during this time was really about to fortify your foundation for your plan. I just want to talk a moment about this, and I'm going to address some questions that people had asked earlier. The plan that you have, it's really important to understand, have a plan, okay? It needs to have 3 areas, okay? You are looking at your mindset, your mental. You are looking at your physical, your movement, and you are looking at your spiritual, which is really your power. And lots of people can think of spiritual in different ways, but what I want you to really think about is I want you to think about what your spiritual is it's that connection to your body. You are actually feeling, breathing, you feel there's a rhythm there, you feel the power that you have, you feel you're connected to it. And a lot of times what happens is we wake up in the morning and we're chasing our day. And when we chase our day, we never connect with our body. So the alarm rings and you're like, oh, I got to go because I scheduled my morning just so I have just enough time to get out of bed, get everything done that I need, eat, change, shower, whatever, all that stuff, get prepared, go. but I didn't give any moment to connecting to me. And if you start your day like that, you will always feel like you're chasing your day. You don't feel like, okay, what's my body feel like? How am I feeling today? What's my thought in my head when I'm waking up in the morning? So for that establishing that power in the morning in a daily practice, I want you to really think about the gratitude practice is super helpful for checking in and connecting and aligning with that spiritual piece. So you've got your mental mindset, we talked about that. You've got your physical, which is do something daily and really have that daily practice. And then you've got your spiritual, which is, am I connected? Am I connected to me? Am I connected to this physical body that I have? I've got this whole other thing going on, whether you want to call it your soul, your spirit. But we are these beings having this physical experience. You can't live outside it and be powerful. You have to live with it. And when you live with it, you actually are more powerful. So when you wake up in the morning, if you do what we're always talking about, body status exam, mental status exam, I take a deep breath, I check in with my body. What am I feeling? What's tight? What's sore? Whatever is going on. And you breathe and you stretch and you move and you get that connection where you start to feel the flow. When you do that body status exam and you really understand, like, gosh, you know what, I just needed to stretch here, I needed to be able to do this, you can feel when that alignment starts to happen. And you're like, I'm breathing, I feel powerful, I feel my stomach muscles on, I feel my chest expanding, I feel my shoulders are in a good place, I feel my head is on top of my spine, not sticking forward, where my neck is tight, I can feel my muscles, I feel my strength. That power that you have by having that connection, it gives you several things. One of which is that connection allows you to have more energy every single day. So when everybody says, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't have enough time, I don't feel good, whatever, that connection will give you the energy. So you're never hearing any of that other stuff. The other thing that connection does is that it makes you just feel more powerful. When we're only in our heads, we're only using a small part of our energy. And so when you actually have the opportunity to feel your body, when you're in the middle of, like, I'm talking and having this conversation with you all, I'm actually sitting on an exercise ball and I periodically am thinking about, how's my posture? How do I feel my stomach muscles on? Am I breathing? It actually happens pretty second nature for me, but I'm adjusting and adapting the entire time. If I do that, I'm not actually having to do two things at once. And it sounds strange, but there's what's front of stage and backstage. Front of stage often is just our head, mental stuff that we're saying, doing, whatever. Backstage can be our physical. What we want to do is we want it all to be happening at once, where we're showing up with our physical, we are feeling our bodies, we are in our bodies, because when we're in that space, it is just more powerful. When people ask me about this all the time, if there's something really simple that I'm coaching to, I'm always coaching to your authenticity, who you are, and establishing how to connect to that and to be powerful. Any other stuff that you're doing where you're not validating it takes energy. But if you use your body the entire time in doing your life, that you're paying attention, you're using your body, you feel yourself run up the stairs, you understand when you're taking notes what's going on with your body, everything is easier, you have more energy, you have more power. Then the other thing that happens is, every time you achieve something physically, you actually become more powerful. There is nothing like achieving something physically, and it doesn't have to be, I ran a triathlon. It could be that today I ran up and down flights of stairs all day long, and I managed to get 6 miles in just interior running in the house kind of thing, because I went up and down flights of stairs. And just to understand, I think it's 60 flights of stairs is a mile. So you'd have to run up a lot of flights of stairs. It's 60 times up and down. is a mile. So if you had 2 sets of stairs, that's 30 times, that's a mile. So you just want to think there's something really powerful that happens when you accomplish something like that. When you accomplish something, and think about it, just go into your brain and think, what are examples in my life when I've accomplished something physically? If it was, I lifted something, I did all that on my own, I carried that by myself, I pushed this, whatever it is, there are these moments when you have this acknowledgement and you realize I am really powerful. I did that. So a lot of what you might have in limiting beliefs, the more physical you are, the less limiting beliefs you will have, because it makes you more powerful mentally. So reviewing your plan for this healthy new year, I want to just stay on top of the things that we talked about. And then I had 2 questions that were asked. And one of the ones that I thought was really interesting goes back to something I talk about all the time, which is I don't consider myself a physical person, and exercise has always been a challenge for me. What would you do? And my first response that happens in my brain is everybody's an athlete in life. No matter if you are in a wheelchair or you are a person who weighs 90 pounds or you're a person who weighs 300 pounds, we are all in our physical bodies having a physical experience. They're all different, but we're all having a physical experience. And so I like the term, you're an athlete in life. And what happens with absorbing that term or identifying it with you is as soon as you start to see yourself as an athlete in life, you start to behave as an athlete in life. And what that means is you start doing things that athletes do, and you do them with no emotion about it. So for example, great client that happened to be really stepping into her athlete in life, and that she is an athlete. She fell running. And so an athlete mindset when you fall running is really different than the mindset of a person who falls running that doesn't think of themselves as an athlete. And so we had this great conversation. And one of the things that comes up is if you're an athlete, you immediately go to the things to address in order to continue. Again, stepping into action quickly, you're adapting, adjusting, and stepping into that acceptance. When you're not thinking athlete, you trip and fall while you're running, you think all these other things, the chatter in your head, somebody told you something, running's not great for people your age. Do you really think you could run because you never did run in the past? Whatever it is. And it's like, look, you fell down. Maybe this isn't a good idea. That's that other chatter. So we want you to get to that point of really saying, I'm an athlete in life. And, I didn't put this all together, but it's 4 A's. So you've got adjusting, adapting, accepting, and then being the athlete in life. Because the athlete in life will get you through adjusting, adapting, accepting, and then into action. Oh my gosh, that's 5 A's. I just love it when things work like this. So then you step into action, because the athlete that trips and falls says, tonight, that means first I go and get everything I need to fix my scrapes, bruises, whatever. I clean it. I do that. I take an Epsom salt bath. I stretch. I see if there's any other things I need to do. And then I start working to get back out there. That other identity, it says, I tripped and fell. I'm just going to really focus on this. I need to take care of this. Is there something else I might be able to do? I'm not sure. This is really sore. This is uncomfortable. Lots of energy goes into the fall, not the action. So one other thing that I want to mention, and that is just, so now we've got the 5 A's. I love that. I'm going to have to write that down. The other thing to really think about when you fall, when you have an injury, when you have any of those hiccups, speed bumps, whatever in life, when you're thinking like an athlete, you think victor, not victim. And what I mean by that is that you immediately are like, yeah, this stuff happens. Oh, well. Victim is I'm on the ground. I'm suffering. This is really terrible. And so what I like people to think about in that circumstance is if you tripped and fell in a crowded place, hallway, airport, wherever, you tripped and fell in front of a whole bunch of people. Would you be a person that just lays on the ground and talks about, oh my gosh, I fell. There's a really slippery place there. I have these shoes that make me fall. I can't imagine how this is. And you wouldn't just lay there. Unless you were really hurt, you would, well, let's just say, think about how you would handle it. Do you roll over? Do you put yourself together and say, wow, I took a dive? Do you have a sense of humor about it? For me, I fall a lot. So I have a sense of humor about it and I would laugh about it. But I wouldn't stay down. And so my husband has a great phrase that I think is just helpful for people to be really stepping into action in. And that is, I'm never down. I'm always up or getting up. And that's a really good athlete in life phrase. Doesn't matter what happens. Don't spend your energy validating being down. Get back up and step into action. So this, I hope that if you have any questions, email me, let me know. But I hope it really is, this is a powerful mindset. No matter what you want to accomplish this year, you have a framework and a foundation to do it. The other question that somebody asked is that they said, I tend to hear all my failures. Every time I schedule, here's what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on my goals, I hear my failures. And my suggestion to that is I want you to think of no judgment and just information. When you think a lot about your failures, you are stuck in a judgment loop. There's something going on there. Somebody was judging you. You learned a pattern of judgment. You pay attention a lot to judging. There's some kind of judgment loop. That judgment loop, you want to just cancel that and say, it's just information. So for me, my canceling is, it's not good or bad, it just is. And then my next statement is, what is it? So whether it was, I got laid off from a job, well, maybe I have feelings about that, feel them. And then I go, okay, that's not good or bad, it just is. Now, what is it? What is it? It means I need to go look for another job. It means I didn't really like that job and I sort of wanted to do something else. It means I need to make more money. It means whatever, I need to plan some things. But as soon as you go to it's not good or bad, it just is, and you stay out of judgment, you can step into action. So if you hear your failures, what I would suggest is say, now, it's not good or bad, it just is. What is it? Okay, failures. I don't keep a schedule. I do ABC. What are the failures in that? And then say, now, that's a great list of what I need for solutions. And then you just focus on, what's the solution? I need accountability. I need people to do this with. I need a place to do that. I need information and instruction. I need support. Whatever it is, all that stuff, if you stay in judgment, you don't get anywhere close to actually getting action and solution. So hear it, take it out of your head and say, wow, that's just information. It is just information. So no judgment, it's just information. So you say, I had failures. You're like, here's why this didn't work in the past. Write them down and then address them. Figure it out, move forward. Everything has a solution. Everything has a solution. And if you believe at all in sort of divine intervention, it could be that it's just guiding you to, you know what, you weren't meant to do CrossFit because you've been doing it and it caused you lots of pain and lots of discomfort and adrenal challenges and your thyroid got off and the whole thing sent you into not being healthy. That doesn't mean exercise isn't healthy. It means that's not it. That's not what I need to be doing. So you say, this is what my challenge was. This is what failed. And now what can I do instead? So instead of CrossFit, and I use that example because believe it or not, that exact example has been given for me ever since CrossFit came about. that I have people that come to me in that state to say, unless you were really athletic, CrossFit is actually a collection of specific sport exercises. And if you didn't do sports, you may really be able to injure yourself doing CrossFit. So then do something else. And that's the solution. So really go into that place of releasing judgment. There is no failure. It's all just learning. So this is a great start. This is a new year. You will be able to accomplish anything that you put your mind to. You just need to focus on all those A's we talked about. You're going to adapt, adjust, get to acceptance. You're an athlete in life, and take action. I'm Nina Rowan Heller. Take care.